Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of our Digital Dialogue series. I'm here with the inimitable Terry Allan. Terry is, I guess, the owner's rep, consultant, project manager, jack of all trades and master of all trades as well, I'd say, Terry. Is that fair?
That's very cool.
So, very great to have you with us. We'll particularly appreciate it because whereabouts in the world are you at the moment?
Puerto Morales, Mexico.
Mexico. So, yeah, I mean, it's an early start for you, and obviously we're interrupting your holiday, so we do appreciate your time today.
Oh, it's just all part of the protocol of entering the USA these days. We'll go and climb the wall later on.
Well, Terry, obviously the conversation is broadly speaking around the space of the market, but in your very distinguished career, you've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly in terms of yacht build. And I'm just wondering, from your point of view, do you think the industry has lost sight potentially of the meaning of true quality and substituted it for, I suppose, what we'd call finish, grandeur over substance?
It's a bit of a double-ended question. You know, we've spoken about this a number of times at the Super Yacht forums. We've written about it with regards to the necessity of specification, etc., etc. What's the difference between quality and finish? It's an expression in the industry that when we're building a boat and we can see that stuff is not right, you know, sometimes the attitude of never mind, at the end it'll all be shiny and smiling, you know, because the owner doesn't see what's behind the deckhead. He doesn't see what's under his, you know, floor, and he doesn't see what's in behind the walls. So that's the quality side of it. The quality has to be complementary to the finish. We should never make a compromise, especially in public spaces and guest areas. I mean, this is the man's dream. It is quite often the finish is reflected in what's behind the walls. That's the only way you can say it. And it's exactly the same in paintwork. You know, at the end of the day, people will turn around and go, wow, that looks really shiny. But then 2 weeks later, when the application of the fillers have been incorrectly applied, specifications have not been respected, eventually you get bubbles coming out. And it's like, well, hang on a minute, 2 weeks ago that looked shiny and smooth, and now it's bumpy and lumpy, you know. And so it's very much a case that it's a now industry. I want it now. The lack of planning reflects on what we finish up with. It's as simple as that. But definitely quality around the guest areas and so forth. Finish is one of the most important points. That's correct. Yeah, and it is to an extent being compromised, and I believe there, you know, in one of your questions a little bit further on, we can touch a little more just on why it gets compromised.
Well, it's interesting what you say there, because do you actually think it's a problem? Is it a perennial problem? The sort of, I guess our industry has forever been associated with the sort of vanguard of luxury, but do you think that sort of quest to deliver the ultimate luxury sometimes actually means you lose the wood from the trees and you actually fail to deliver on the quality?
Yeah. That's exactly right. Yeah, without going into it, some builds, when you survey a boat, it looks more like the pipework was a game of rugby, because it's who comes in first is best dressed. And they start running pipework everywhere. There's not enough what we call coordination drawings. They'll run pipework and then they'll find out, oh, hang on a minute, there's a pipe that runs through the middle of the hatch, and we're meant to lower an electric motor down there in 2 months' time. So now all of a sudden the straight pipe run that was installed correctly now gets cut and pushed around corners because there's no coordination, because in the shipyard it's just first come, best dressed. And that happens globally in this industry, because it's a now industry. I want my boat now. Yes, sir, but can you give us 18 months to engineer it and make it? What? 18 months? No way. I want it now. So there's that compromise. That's where the compromise is made.
Is that just a reality of project management in any industry, or is it particularly prevalent in yachting?
No, I mean, my experience, goodness me, I've even worked in gold mines and crusher plants and built crusher plants and stuff like that. No, there are shortcomings in most areas because of time restraints, I think, is the major cause. But this industry in particular, I was talking to someone, a technical director of a shipyard a little while back, and I said, you're going to start building a new 70 metre. And he said to me, what are you talking about? And I said, well, I just saw the drawings of the new 70 metre. He said, I understand that. This is the technical department of a shipyard that didn't know that the commercial department was showing drawings of a 70 metre boat that has never been engineered. They don't know anything about it. It's sell.
Wow. I couldn't fathom it, could you? I mean, when you're talking about such astronomical sums, you can't fathom that. It's talking of which, the cost element, do you feel that we need to make the cost of every element of the build more transparent and sort of more easy to understand for clients, particularly clients who are newer to the business, maybe less seasoned?
I think what's missing in the industry is standards for most designers, or let's not say designers, because designers can get a pencil and draw a line and say, yeah, that looks great, that's fine, yeah, that'll cost 50 grand, no problems. But they don't do any thought behind that. It's like, hang on, we just blanked out a window. Sometimes that's a bit of an issue. What the real problem is, how do you cost? Let's face it, without a shipyard, you've got nowhere to build it. You've got nowhere to build a boat if you haven't got a shipyard.
Yeah.
So the shipyard has to exist. For it to exist, it has to make money. How does it make money? Getting it wrong 3 times, building a boat 3 times doesn't help anything, because they build it and they go, oh, hang on a minute, we've got to change that. Then they change that, and then they go back and they go, oh, well, that's wrong, so we'll just do it this way. And there seems to be more time to build the boat 3 times than there is to build it once and plan it properly, So shipyards that have this now attitude, yes, we can do it now, they shoot themselves in the foot. And, I've seen this numerous times. you cannot beat physics, right? An apple falls to the ground for a certain reason, and there's nothing we're going to do can change that. And engineering is exactly the same thing. Engineering, there are methods, there are standards, there are procedures. If you don't respect them, it's going to turn around and bite you. So, to be able to price a vessel package, they have to offer option A, and then when you go and buy your new Mercedes, they'll offer you the AMG kit, they'll offer you the wheels, they'll offer you the sunroof, they'll offer you this, that doesn't exist in our industry where there are set packages with upgrade values. They make it up as they go along. Oh, you want a jacuzzi? No worry. Oh, that's a difficult spot to put it, but we can do it for 150, 200 grand. And so the owner wants it, and the designer says you definitely need a jacuzzi on this deck. So the owner goes, okay, I need a jacuzzi. All right, 200 grand, that's fine, no problems. And they don't know how much it's going to cost. They're just sticking their thumb in the air and looking at it and going, yeah, that's about 200 grand. And they might be able to do it for 100. They might be able to do it for 50. But at the end of the day, it won't be 50 because they'll do it 2 or 3 times to get it right. Because in the planning, and that's so they don't make the money. It's as simple as that. It's this industry which is shooting themselves in the foot with regards to planning and being cost effective. They can't be cost effective because they can't plan properly.
But is there, to an extent, is it all part of a theatre, all part of a negotiating, or is it? Do you feel, because you were talking about it sounds quite an endemic problem, and it's probably doing a lot of damage in terms of client retention and also new business.
It's why shipyards go bankrupt. It's as simple as that. The only reason shipyards go bankrupt, any company, any business goes bankrupt because of its management. It's as simple as that. If they can't manage and coordinate, then it ain't going to work. It's as simple as that. Any restaurant that takes an order and delivers it 3/4 of an hour later and gets it wrong, they're not going to last. It's like I ordered a burger without cheese. You just bought me a double burger with cheese, 45 minutes late. Now I've got to wait another 45 minutes. No, that's not on. See you later. Bye. So the company, the restaurant starts to go down. It's exactly the same on boats. Exactly the same. Oh, yeah, well, we quoted you this much and we didn't realise this and we didn't realize bad luck. Bad luck. Do the planning. Work it out. Don't open your mouth beforehand. But it's part of the pressure of the industry. People do not want to hear tomorrow. It's now. We have clients come to us and they say, we'd like to build a boat. What's the build time? Oh, we can do a 100-metre boat in 30 months. Okay, that's great. Let's go. Well, hang on a minute. We actually need 18 months to draw it and engineer it, and then we'll start building. Okay, and then it'll take 30 months. But it'll only take 30 months to build, but it'll still take 18 months to engineer. People don't want to hear that.
So to me, the way you've just described it suggests that actually the problem almost lies with the commercial team, who are not sort of being candid enough and honest enough during the negotiating process because they fear the loss of business. Is that fair? I mean, should yards be looking? Should a prudent shipyard be looking to extend the negotiation period? Because in the long run, it will lead to a happier client. So you build a better spec, you have a project that's better planned. Everybody knows what they're getting at the end of it, and thus you get a better result. it just takes a little longer to get there.
It, you know, without doubt. I mean, let's say, if someone wants to build a 70-meter boat and they've gone to someone that has already built 70-meter vessels, then one would assume that the 70-meter vessel should be pretty right, no problems. It's very often not the case. It's not at all the case. And, you know, I would probably enter into about a 4-month game of specification tennis with a shipyard. If I was to start reviewing a specification, it would take around 4 months of discussion, because the discussion is not just my perception of how to. When I'm doing a project, the most important thing to appreciate all the time is that I'm not building my boat. I'm building someone else's boat, so it's not about me. Okay, that's why. And I've said this previously in discussions that I've held up in Amsterdam, you know, that's why we get the rule book written before we step onto the field. Right? So, for example, when you have a game of golf and you hit the ball in the water, you know that costs you a shot. You get another ball out of your bag because you're not going to get your feet wet. You drop it down, and that's just cost you a shot, and away you go, you get on with life. Because it's written in the rule book. There's no discussion. That's exactly how the game was played. That's it. And the same thing applies for building a vessel, you know. And the only thing, my only point of stance when I'm when I'm building a boat for someone, when I'm running a project, is that I'm not building my boat, I'm building their boat in accordance with 3 rule books. There's IACS, which is your International Association of Classification Societies. Anything you want to know about build standards is in there, pretty close. Then you've got your class, then you've got your flag, and you've got your specification and contract. All right, so there's actually 5 that you can stand behind. And, you know, what's written in the specification is what the way the boat's got to be built. What's written in the contract means that this has to be done by this time, and then you get paid money. You know, if it's not done and it's not done correctly, you don't get paid money, and we hold money back, or this is not done. And each and every item, from the ventilation, the air conditioning, the engine systems, the paint systems, and all of those things make up that rule book. Each item has its own sub-clause of how do you paint a boat. Okay, you have to put the filler on and no thicker than 10 millimeters in one layer. Did you do that? No, that's a non-conformity. It's not as per the specification. Whose specification? The manufacturer's specification. And it's reflected into the build specification. So you must have the rule book written. And I've reviewed some really big name specifications, people that, you know, companies that have written build specifications, and sometimes you feel a little intimidated that you're going to go into bat against these people that are experienced. But when you start reading through it, you go, okay. You know, it's quite surprising when you start.
In what sense? In what sense when you read between the lines?
Oh, just different people's theories on propulsion systems for vessels, hotel services, the demand of air conditioning. You know, when we go from the Mediterranean, which is a hot during summer is a hot environment. Then we go, all of a sudden we're over in the UAE, and the average seawater temperature is about 35 degrees in summer. So, all of a sudden your AC is not working because it can't cool, stuff like that. It's like, where is the boat going to go? What do you want to do with it? Oh, I don't know. Great. Well, we'll build it so you can go anywhere. So, that's the sort of thing that you come up against. Standard.
So, talking of sort of consistency, I think that this may be a topic, that rare topic that you don't actually have a strong opinion on, but I want to ask it anyway. The current raft of designs that are sort of brought to market, what are your thoughts on them? Do you feel they've become a bit too samey, a bit too predictable, even formulaic?
No, there's a lot of, there's a lot of great ideas out there. Everybody loves something innovative, new, but it's the old story that, in engineering, just because you can draw it, it doesn't mean you can build it, So I recently saw someone's idea, and they had a beach club that was glass. Basically the shell of the boat is glass, and it's like, okay, we've got propellers underneath all this that creates a heck of a lot of vibration. We've got waves that are going to hit from all different angles. I could not physically see how you could get the strength and rigidity in the design, and then they want to go and put a helicopter 2 decks up. It's like, well, that's fine, but because the helicopter's landing 2 decks up, the force is still coming down to the lower deck and going through the windows that are holding the boat up, holding the main deck up. Some great ideas. There really are. And, we can do anything. It's just a question of how much. It's just a question of price. But, we actually say in designing stuff that, we always try, with working with Rob McFarlane and stuff, we always try and be practical. Curves cost money. Simple as that. Ask your girlfriend. All right? Curves cost money. It's as simple as that. You want curves? There's a lot more work involved. As you know, there's more work involved with curves. All right?
Of course.
And it's the same on a boat. That's why they call the boat a woman. If it's curvy, it's expensive.
So, moving on. I've been watching some of the other one-to-ones, and something that's come up time and time again is this newly emergent generation of clients who is saying, get rid of the bells and whistles. I want something that serves its purpose well, does the job, and allows me to connect with the water. Do you see that? And B, do you feel the industry is actually able to deliver that? Or are we so set in our ways with the bells and whistles?
I don't think that people have an image of what a super yacht should look like. What should it look like? Something spectacular, I think, is what could sum that up. That's what a super yacht should look like, spectacular. But, I worked on on a boat years ago, and it was far from spectacular on the outside. You go on the inside, and it was like, really? And it looked like an old fishing boat from the outside. Simple as that. And that's exactly how it was portrayed. And the paintwork, it was done with a roller and a brush and a couple of guys hanging over the side sometimes when the boat was steaming along. And nothing flash about that. Yeah. But inside, magnificent, like you would never imagine. So what does the super yacht got to do? Where do they want to go? I think people want to go to different areas now. They want to go to, further horizons. They want to see, polar bears before they all disappear. They want to see penguins. Ice is becoming, I want an ice class vessel. That's great. Definitely, we have the ability in our industry to fulfill everybody's dreams, and the designs can be adapted accordingly, but it's again important to know what does the client expect. I don't know if now is, the future of the industry is one of your last questions. Where are we going with the new? Who are the new clients? I mean, you guys should know better than me. Who are the new clients that are coming into this industry? They're the younger people that have perhaps inherited their wealth from their fathers, their grandfathers, grandmothers, or whoever they were. They've inherited the money. So do they understand what it means to work like that to amass such wealth, or are they more now business minded and using the money to make the money, which is good sense, Then do they want to invest in a $200 million project that costs them 20-25% a year to run, which is the real thing. That's real. Everybody says, oh, it's 10%. It's not. It's 15-20% in real terms. Do they want that? Probably not. Do they want the headache? I love driving fast cars and everything, but I'm not going to own them all. So I can, if I want to, I can go and hire one up the road and drive it around a racetrack for, half an hour and walk away and give the keys back, and I don't have to worry about the insurance. I don't have to worry about fixing it. I don't have to worry about putting fuel in it. I think that's the same sort of thing that's going to happen in this industry. And I think we're going to see, this is just from my point of view, obviously. This is a personal point of view, something that I've shared previously with someone, and they thought it sounded all right. So I thought, okay, I'll repeat that one day. But I think that what we're going to see in the industry is that we're going to see fleets of charter vessels. We're going to see vessels that are built on a commercial standard platform with certain amount of curves. They've still got to look nice and they've still got to look different. You're not going to go and charter, if 3 or 4 of you are going to charter a boat, you all want your own boat. It's all got to look a bit different. It's easy to do. You can, that's not difficult. You can always modify each superstructure without incurring excessive costs by building a basic engineering platform and just putting a different hat on it each time. That's no big deal. As long as it's done within reason and respect of the engineering platform, you can make anything look different. If you look at that, people are going to charter boats. I don't know about the charter market. I think that if anybody wants to charter a 70-meter boat, they have to look at it like 2 years in advance because the market is just saturated. There's not enough boats, and there are still clients that want to come and enjoy the experience, but there's no availability. So I think anybody wants to get into this game as at that level. Personally, I think 300 million. I've done the numbers. If you invested 300 million, you could finish up with a fleet of 5 or 6 vessels.
So, with that future glimpse, we always wrap up these conversations by asking the interviewee what your future outlook for the health of our industry is. Are you optimistic, pessimistic?
From an engineering point of view, I can't answer the question from a broker's point of view.
Yeah.
But from an engineering point of view, we are seeing that we are, even through this period, we're quite busy. There's a lot of sales going on, a lot of pre-purchase surveys going on. I know that there have been an enormous amount of vessels, new builds, that have been ordered recently because now all of a sudden people don't want to go and have a holiday with 3,000 other people on a big ship. They've got the money. They've realised that they can't spend it when they're dead, so you might as well, enjoy it while you can. From an engineering side of things, we're seeing a lot of work coming in at this point of time. Where is it going? I think that currently the market is pretty healthy. There are still a number of builds over the, let's say, 80-meter mark that are going on. Enough for a closed-knit market like we are to be comfortable with for this period of time. I can really see that we have to be not more transparent, but more professional in our approach to bring clients into the industry and to make them feel as if they're protected. People are looking out for them. We want to deliver the right thing. We want to deliver a good product to them. And shipyards globally will work to raise the standard. Is that possible? Maybe I still believe in Father Christmas. Yeah, I believe it can be done. You've got to put the right things in order to support the client requirements that are coming into this industry. These new people, they're not stupid. None of these wealthy people are dumb. They didn't get wealthy because they're dumb, and they know what they're getting into. They know exactly what they want out of it, and they don't like surprises, So let them know up front what they're getting into, how much it's going to cost them, then let them make the decision. Because otherwise, you're going to bring someone into the industry, they're going to get a bad taste in their mouth, and they're going to leave. And I've seen that happen numerous times. So the future of the industry is simply to supply the client's requirements in the most cost-effective manner possible, without compromise to quality.
And I think that's a completely balanced and legitimate split of realism and optimism, Terry. And on that note, we'll let you get back to the beach. And thanks very much for taking the time out to join us. You can get your room done now.
It's been fun, and let's hope that everybody out there sort of gets through this period in one piece, and we can all get together in Holland maybe next year. Let's see.
Absolutely. Okay. Cheers, Terry. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Will. Thank you.